in between is your mind. How you interpret what's coming to you, that is your mind. That is how you react. That is your interpretation of what the sender is throwing at you. And that is what causes mind games in our relationships. See, Saul, he didn't know how to interpret all the things that he was receiving. He didn't know how to interpret. He was threatened. He felt that he was already slowly losing popularity among his people. Because David was really on his way to the top. Now, fast forward sa Book of Samuel chapter 19 verse 1 to 3, it says, Saul told his son Jonathan and all the attendants to kill David. But Jonathan had taken a great liking to David and warned him, my father Saul is looking for a chance to kill you. Be on your guard. Tomorrow morning, go into hiding and stay there. I will go out and stand with my father in the field where you are, and I'll speak to him about you, and I will tell you what I find out. Scary thing, no? How Saul interpreted the message na nakaka-receive niya, he was willing to kill David for it. He was so afraid of David that he was willing to kill him. If you guys read the book of Samuel, no, multiple times dito makita ninyo how Saul attempted to kill David. There were multiple times na David was just standing at the doorstep and see King Saul, he would throw spears at him. If I remember correctly, 2 times to siya gi-attempt King Saul to impale David with a spear. That is how threatened King Saul was. That is how threatened he was. Now, can you see David, knowing that he was fearing for his life, what's yung tanong niya yung response niya? What would your reaction be? How would you interpret all the threats that was coming at you? Kaya, Kuya Towns na kayo, ikaw lagi nang willing mag-participate. Kuya Towns! Madlo. See, David was fearing for his life. So much so that he ran away. Now, if you guys see the pattern, how Saul interpreted the message na iyang ginakakadawat niya and how David interpreted it, it was very similar. They were both working on fear. King Saul, he was willing to kill tungkol kay hadlok siya na ma-overpower siya ni David, and David ran away because all the things that was coming at him, kakahadlok siya. He was very afraid of King Saul. Oh, my PowerPoint's not working. Matt, next slide please. Alright. Oh, guys, if mabasa ninyo, please read that. I'll just read here kay layo na kaya para sa ako. I'm getting old, akong eyesight kay poor na kaya. Alright. 1 Samuel chapter 24 verse 1 to 4 says, when Saul returned from following the Philistines, he was told, behold, David is in the wilderness of En-Gedi. Then Saul took 3,000 chosen men out of Israel and went to seek David and his men in front of the crags of Wild Goat. If di mo familiar no kung saan ang crags, kaning crags are, they're like cliffs. Okay, if you guys know your animals, kaning mga wild goats, they like staying sa mga kaning mga cliff side. They like staying there. Actually, gusto kanina yung mga mountain goats, they like climbing high places. So, men in front of the crags of wild goats, and he came to the sheepfolds. By the way, there was a cave. And Saul went in to relieve himself. But now David and his men were sitting in the innermost parts of the cave, and the men of David said to him, here is the day of which the Lord said to you, behold, I will give you your enemy into your hand, and you shall do to him it shall seem good to you. Then David arose and stealthily cut off the corner of Saul's robe. Now this is the part where I want you guys to think now. Do you guys see the response of David when the enemy was handed to him? His men were saying, David, patyan na siya. Nana sa cave, we have him cornered. We have him cornered. Pati na. But David in his heart, he still wanted to glorify the Lord. David, despite sa mga messages, despite sa mga incoming na threats from Saul, he chose to interpret it at a different way. There was no mind games for him. There was no mind games for David. He wasn't thinking, what's ka ani kung patyo na lang ako? He wasn't at that decision. David just chose to cut off a small portion of Saul's robe. Because in his heart, in his mind, he knew what he wanted to do. He still glorified the Lord in his actions. He chose to glorify God sa iyang gibuhat niya. There was no mind games for him. It's not like us when we are handling situations and when we're handling mind games. Magduwa-duwa ko bitaw sa buhato nato. Do we lean this way or do we still choose to glorify God? Sa akong 27 years of existence, I'm old. Sa akong 27 years of existence, for the most part, I have lived a compartmentalized life. Lord, kanina aspect sa akong kinabuhi, imuhan eh. Lord, kanina aspect, imuhan eh. But Lord, this aspect of my life, this is mine. And it wasn't like that for David on that moment. If David chose to compartmentalize his life, Lord, let me have my revenge. Let me do what I want to do with Saul. But no, he still chose to glorify God. Despite all of the world telling him, patya na, he still chose, Lord, I'm going to glorify you in my actions. Now, it is up to us as the receiver to interpret what man yung mga messages na ginasend sa ato Unsa man yung mga mind games. When we handle our day-to-day relationship, it is up to us how we interpret all the things that are coming to us, all the things that are incoming. Now, getting it from the Book of Love, kay Gwapo Gining Corinthians, it's Paul really hit the mark with how he taught us how to live our lives. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 7 to 8 says, Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. As for prophecies, they will pass away. As for tongues, they will cease. As for knowledge, it will pass away.